What if I told you that a memory you've carried since childhood, one that feels completely real, one you'd swear happened, was quietly planted inside your head by someone else? Not a dream, not a guess. A full, detailed, emotionally vivid memory that never actually occurred? That's not science fiction. That's what researchers proved in one of the most unsettling psychology experiments ever run. Stay with me until the end because I've got a personal test lined up for you. Here's the thing most people get wrong about memory. We treat it like a photograph, something that captures a moment, stores it safely, and hands it back to us exactly as it happened. But memory doesn't work like a photograph at all. It works more like a Wikipedia page. Anyone with the right access can go in and quietly edit it. Now, why does that matter? Because everything you believe about yourself, your past, your childhood, all of it is built on memories. Your identity literally rests on them. And if those memories can be rewritten without your knowledge, that's a bit frightening, isn't it? In 1995, a psychologist named Elizabeth Loftus decided to test exactly how far that editing could go. Not with adults, with childhood memories, the kind that feel the most solid, the most untouchable. And what she found genuinely shook the field of psychology. Think back for a moment. Do you have a clear memory from when you were 5 or 6? Something vivid? Hold on to that. We're coming back to it. Loftus and her team ran what became known as the Lost in the Mall study. The setup sounds almost too simple to be groundbreaking, but that's what makes it so clever. They recruited participants and asked their family members, parents, older siblings to write down 3 or 4 genuine memories from the participants' childhood, real events, things that actually happened. A birthday party, a trip to the beach, the first day of school, that sort of thing. Then, tucked in among those real memories, the researchers slipped in a 5th one, entirely fabricated. The fake memory always followed the same basic story. As a young child, the participant had got separated from their family inside a shopping mall. They'd been lost, frightened, and eventually rescued by an elderly stranger before being reunited with their parents. None of it happened. The family confirmed it never happened. Each participant received a booklet containing all 5 memories, 4 real, 1 invented, and was asked to read through them and write down anything they could recall about each event. If they couldn't remember something, they were told that was fine. Just write whatever came to mind. Now here's where it gets genuinely strange. Over subsequent sessions, researchers gently prompted the participants, "Do you remember anything else about the mall?" Nothing pushy, nothing dramatic. Just soft repeated nudging. And roughly 1 in 4 participants began to remember it, not vaguely. Specifically, one person described the elderly man's flannel shirt. Another recalled the exact feeling of panic rising in their chest as they scanned the crowd for a familiar face. Someone else remembered the echo of the mall's tiled corridors. One participant was so convinced by their memory that they initially argued with researchers when told it wasn't real. Let that sit for a second. A quarter of these people built a fully furnished memory, complete with sensory detail and emotional weight, around something that never existed. How is that even possible? To understand what happened, you need to know something important about how memory actually functions under the bonnet. Your brain doesn't store memories the way a hard drive stores files, clean, complete, and retrievable on demand. What it actually stores is more like a rough sketch. The emotional tone of an event. A few vivid anchor points. The general shape of what happened, the rest? Your brain fills in later, using logic, expectation, and any additional information it picks up along the way. This is called the misinformation effect. And Loftus had actually been building evidence for it for years before the mall study. Think of it this way. Imagine watching a film, but the original footage had chunks missing, random cuts, blank patches. When you go to replay that film in your mind, your brain doesn't show you blank patches. It quietly inserts something plausible. Something that feels so natural you don't even notice the edit happened. That's what the mall story exploited. Participants had genuine childhood memories of malls, of feeling small in crowded places, of strangers, of that particular low-level anxiety children feel when they can't spot their parents. The fake memory had all the right ingredients to slot in seamlessly. And once the brain had filled in enough blanks, the memory crystallized. It stopped feeling like a story they'd been told. It started feeling like something they'd lived. Independent researchers later replicated similar false memory effects in multiple studies, with some showing implantation rates around 22%, which tells us this wasn't a fluke. This is a consistent feature of how human memory operates. You might be thinking, fine, but surely I'd know if a memory wasn't mine. Surely I'd feel the difference. Here's why that confidence is misplaced. Picture this. You're at a family gathering and someone says, "Remember that Christmas where Gran wore that bright yellow jumper and you spilled hot chocolate all over the tablecloth?" You have no memory of it, but everyone laughs. Someone describes the chaos. An uncle adds a detail. Your mom says your face went bright red with embarrassment. 3 weeks later, you have a memory of that Christmas. You can almost picture the yellow. You might even feel a flicker of that embarrassment. Did it happen? Maybe, maybe not. But your brain has now cataloged it as real. Or consider this, you remember a childhood friend's house as having a red front door. You've mentioned it to people. It's a small but specific detail that makes your memory feel credible. You go back as an adult and the door is white, has always been white according to the current owners. Where did the red come from? A different house? A book you read? A photo you have saw? Your brain doesn't archive its sources. It just archives the detail. This becomes deeply serious when we move into legal settings. A witness testimony has historically been treated as some of the most powerful evidence in a courtroom. But decades of research, much of it influenced by Loftus's work, has shown that witnesses can confidently recall details that are demonstrably wrong: clothing colors, car models, the sequence of events, not because they're lying, but because their memories were genuinely altered by questions, media coverage, or conversations after the event. Innocent people have gone to prison partly on the strength of sincere, detailed, entirely inaccurate memories. Right. Here's the part one promised you. Cast your mind back to a specific childhood memory, something from before you were 10. Pick one that feels clear. Maybe a holiday, a family event, a day at school. Now ask yourself honestly, how do you know you were actually there? Not do you remember it, but how do you know? Did you see photos of it first? Did a family member tell you the story before the memory fully formed? Did you talk about it so many times that the retelling became the memory? Here's the uncomfortable signal. If your memory is unusually rich, if it has very specific sensory details, clothing descriptions, weather, the exact words someone said, that doesn't necessarily mean it's accurate. Ironically, over-detailed memories are sometimes a sign the brain has been constructing rather than retrieving. Real memories are often patchy, a feeling, a fragment. A face without a name. The ones that feel like a perfectly produced scene, those deserve a second look. The most unsettling thing about all of this isn't that we can be fooled. It's that we can be fooled and feel completely certain we haven't been. Memory doesn't come with a reliability rating. It just comes with a feeling of truth. So the next time a memory feels unshakable, maybe that's exactly when it's worth asking the question. If this got under your skin, share it with someone who needs to hear it. There's more where this came from.